Okay, to go through some features of this calculator, if you're doing a calculator exam. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is questions where it says graph. Now there's nothing wrong with putting like -5 in by times in -5, then adding 1 for each of this, but your calculator can do a table of values for you. If you go to mode, and then you go to table, it says f of x. Don't be confused by the f of x, that's just, for all intents and purposes, a version of y. Type in 2x plus 1, so type 2. Now we do have an actual x button there, which means alpha x. I'll do +1. So your start value, now in my table of values it's going to be -5. End, it's actually going to be 0 for me, and this would obviously change, put on it. So press arrow equals, it says step, and that's the increments, which is 1. And actually got my table of values there. So it's going to be -9, -7, -5, and if I scroll down, -3, 1, and 1. Okay. I can actually do it for quadratic ones as well, just in exactly the same way. So if I just press clear it, I can just do my x squared. So I'll use the same x, which is just alpha x, do the squared button, +3x, +7. It'll ask me the same questions. So -5, my end here is actually -2. Step up in 1. Okay, and it gives me it then. So it's going to be 17, 11, 7. Scroll down to get the next one. 5. Okay. You could do that for any graph whatsoever. To get out of it as well, it's mode and 1. So to get into it, you have to do mode and table, which is 3. Okay, mode and 1 to get out of it. Now the next bit is if you get a question that says list the product of the prime factors, or now the calculator can again do that. If I want to do 310, I type in 310. I press equals. Now above your, like this one here says commas, you've got a button that says FACT. So shift FACT tells me 2 times 5 times 31. Now let's say it's giving you a stupid number, that's 3,600. I'll do 3,600, press equals, fact is there, so shift fact, and again gives me it as 2 to the power 4, 3 squared and 5 squared. Okay, next bit I want to do is 7 to the power of 0.5. Now some of you might not know what a decimal index is, or a fractional index is really what we do, but don't worry, if it's on a calculator paper we don't need to. I've got a squared button there, okay, I've got a cubed button here, but this one here is x to the power of anything I want. So if I do 7, you can see it goes up a little bit. And if I put 0.5, gives my answer of that. Okay. Right, next one I want to do is 23% of 79. Now a lot of people know where that percent button is. Okay, it's up here in front of your brackets. So if I do 23%, of in maths means times, so times 79 equals 18.17. The fraction button, again, is here. So you do 3/5 plus, and again it's there, which is press your fraction button first, 1/7. That'll do it for you. It will make it in its lowest terms. Now the only difference is between the bottom one and the top one. Now if you want to put like a mixed number in, you actually have to use the fraction button that's on the top. Okay, so I'd have to shift, and then you get 3 boxes. You're going to put 2 and 3/7. And the question is plus, and I have to shift in that again, 1 and 4/8, and there you get it. The difference between using this button and going back to get a fraction and doing a shift button. Now for example, let's say I do 1 and a half. Oh fuck. Let's say I do 1.5 plus 1.5. Now you should know that's actually going to be 3. Okay. Now my calculator is telling me it's 1, and that's because what you've told your calculator to do is to do 1 times a half plus 1 times a half. If you want to do it properly, you have to do your shift button. We're going to do 1.5 plus 1.5. There you got 3. Now last one is just trigonometry. Now you do need to know a bit of trigonometry rules. But the only thing before you even start doing that is to make sure your calculator is in degrees. Now at the top it says D, okay, which means I'm okay. But there are other situations where you can have like rads or grads. Let's say I'll do this. Now if it says ra on the top, every trigonometry question I do will be wrong. So we need to make sure that that's actually on degrees. And I say it's shift and mode, and then 3 for degrees. Okay. Thank you. And generally, if anything's wrong with your calculator, just press mode on 1 and it'll be okay.